The last one always is YouTube. Looks like they're all up and exactly where I need them to be. Double checking all my sources here. Looks like the audio is up and exactly right. So welcome back. Every Sunday we drop the investments updates, talking about the economy, talking about the real estate market, talking about finances. We talk about day trading and things like that, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I've really covered some of the day trading stuff. That's because, honestly, trading is probably not the popular thing to be doing right now. However, we all know what's going on with the housing market, and it seems like that's the continuous conversation that's been going on. So before I really elaborate into that, and like the title you see, 2008 housing market crash explained, is because, well, it really needs some justifying. And we're going to get into that really. Before I do that, you know what I need you to do? I need you to like, subscribe, follow, do all that great stuff so we can get past that and I can get into the nuts and bolts of this conversation. Because I got to tell you, it's like apples and oranges here. 2008 housing crash has nothing to do other than the fact that it is a downplay or a downturn in the economy to today's economy. They are not the same events. Stop following the idiots on YouTube. I'm joking. No, stop listening to the information without doing your own true analysis and figuring out and understanding the fact that those two are isolated incidents that occurred on their own. And I'm going to dig into those facts and explain exactly why. So let's just get to it. So here's the thing. Okay. Really and truly, we know, for those who are old enough to know, that in 2008, what exactly was going on? Well, it wasn't 2008. It was actually 2005, 2004, and everything that led up to that period in that 5 to 4 years of time frame. And really and truly, the problem that we had there was that lenders were just giving away loans like candy. And you had some of the probably worst loan scenarios you could imagine being given out. I mean, ninja loans. You're talking about adjustable ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages to people that should never have got it. All these creative financing scenarios, banks were just dumping money, right? And it didn't make sense. So you had, you have A, B, C, and D types of loan packages out there. And banks, they buy these loan packages from each other. They're selling it off back and forth, especially the low grade stuff, right? So they're buying this stuff off, buying debt from each other, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. That was the bigger problem, right? How did that compound into everything? Well, back then, as it got worse and worse and worse and people weren't paying their bills, okay, we also had the problem of people buying property, pulling out the equity in their property, buying another property and sticking a tenant in there. So then when it came to the point where people weren't able to pay their bills because of the economic downturn at that time, okay, that person, that homeowner who had those investment properties, right, who pulled out a mortgage on their primary property, when they couldn't pay that mortgage over there, they had to decide what they were going to let go. In some cases, it was that property. In some cases, it was both properties. So taking that into accountability and understanding what was actually happening is key, because people were setting themselves up for failure and just literally walking away from these properties, creating ghost towns. And I'm sure you guys can relate to some of the stories that were being told at that time. Then you had people getting taken advantage of, and it was horrible. Okay, then the foreclosures just started skyrocketing. Okay. That was a huge downturn. People in the market, as far as agents are concerned, understood that that was a shift in the economy where they needed to know how to play the short sale game, okay, understanding how to deal with short sales and foreclosures, and even understanding how to deal with properties that were sold on the courthouse steps and auctions. Okay, so these were the different scenarios that were taking place. That is not today. Today is a entirely different situation. We're experiencing an economic downturn as a result of a pandemic, as a result of finances that were already coming to a very questionable situation even before the pandemic was even widely understood here in the US that January before we locked down in that March. Okay, so it's funny how the sheets were pulled over that entire scenario, but we were already approaching this economic situation. Then we have a war going on, right? Talking about to date over there, where that's greatly affecting the global economy. So you have that going on, you have this pandemic going on, and all these shutdowns. And then here in the US, to try to solve problems, we give away more money in the form of stimulus, in the form of all these different packages, PPP, EIDL, all these different things that were happening. We're just giving away money, giving away money, giving away money. I just had this amazing print machine. I don't know what keeps happening. Every time I turn this wheel, it works. It worked great. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's still going, right? Someone has to pay for that, okay? So as a result of that wheel turning and money getting kicked out, you have what is the largest class in our economy, the middle class, who's got to start paying for that, okay? So how do we make them pay for that? Let's raise taxes, right? So you got stuff like that going on, and well, that doesn't look good, okay? So it doesn't look good on many levels. Our national debt is sky high. The consumer price index is just not looking favorable right now. Now we're dealing with quantitative tightening. The feds are cutting back. The stock market's dropping its butt off right now, right? So things are just not as rosy as people thought right now. So I will give you some facts on what Redfin is talking about as far as the mortgage rates concerned. I will give you some updates when it comes to National Association of Realtors. So you guys are going to get all of that, fresh information, because I try to give it to you guys as often as possible. Once a week seems right because there are a lot of changes that happen back and forth, and then with the media playing on it. So all those things go into play when it comes to that. But what's really cool is that I am giving you the truth. That's what's really cool. So the other thing is that when you really take a step back and realize that the two situations or incidents, 2008, they like to use that number as the catch-all time frame, and the current events today in 2022, you do realize that they are not related. They're similar because it is a change in direction and people are upset, but they are not the same. And just like back then, you have to learn how to capitalize on this situation. Back then, people became millionaires. Right now, people will become millionaires. We're not even talking about cryptocurrency and what's going on with that and that debacle, right? It seems very interesting that people are talking less and less about that because it's like the taboo in the room right now. No one really wants to cover that topic. And those that are, they're like, oh, we want to talk about how much money I lost. So yeah, let's switch right on over. I'm not going to talk about that. So here's what's happening with the Redfin updates when it comes to the news right now. Redfin states housing market update, typical home now sells for less than asking, right? Crazy right now how I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. I was waiting for it. If you caught on to some of my other videos, you saw me talking about it, and I was just waiting, just sitting on my hands, grinning because I knew it. And so there it is. They're going to come down, all right? Millennial and Gen Z renters have personal inflation rates above 11% compared with 8.5% for the typical American. Inflation is hitting young renters hard because the cost of rent and other expenses has increased much faster than their incomes. Millennials who took on a new rental lease in July saw their overall cost of goods and services increase 11.6% year over year, substantially higher than 8.5% for the U.S. population as a whole. So the reason why they're specializing or specifically stating, right, millennials, is because millennials are the ones who really don't want to take on too many responsibilities. They're really good with Uber. They don't want to buy a vehicle. They're more likely to lease. They don't want to buy property. They're more likely to rent. So there's very few that are actually taking a hold of investments. Those people see things slightly different and probably don't even call themselves millennials, right? It's not a negative thing. It's just a different group overall mindset. I call it the me generation, where they are millennial entrepreneurs. They are me, right? They are saying that Everything's about me. Me, 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 me. I want the best this, I that. They're not so much the team player. Sorry, I'm not bagging on you. I'm just saying it's a different mindset, right? But everyone can't run around and be a chief. We need some Indians. With that saying, what I'm saying is that some people need to know their roles. Not everyone is an entrepreneur. Not everyone has that ability, the discipline, and the knowledge to move forward, or a mentor to go out there and take on those kind of tasks. That's the problem we're having right now, because that's why so many people are now unable to hold a job. Ask anyone who is a business owner how many employees they've been able to keep that were actually successful, giving amazing customer service and staying there long enough to be recognized as an employee that has been there long enough. It looks like no one's really caring about that length of time. Honestly, dedicating 5 years or so is just not something that is a norm right now. It's crazy. Honestly, you know, really looking into it, I've noticed that with this me generation, I feel like we're going to do a full circle where the me generation is what we have seen right now today when you see some of the older people that are our door greeters, if you will, or much older people working in businesses. I mean, there's no reason why I should see a 60-year-old man running a front gate as security to a community. It's crazy. And I know why he's there. I know why she's there at this business, or why these older people are working is because they have to, right? They don't have the retirement. They don't have the savings. They didn't do the things. And I look at them as being part of what was identified similarly as what we called hippies back then are the me generation people today, right? They were more free thinkers, right? It was all about, hey, you know what? That's not right. And, you know, it's all about feelings and emotion and all that. And that's fine. You can have that mindset. But at the end of the day, you need to come back and be able to circle back and say, what do I have that is going to take care of me and now this family that I've created? You got to get back to work, right? So you have those people. And then I feel like after that generation, those kids who are kids now today, when they become adults later, that is going to be the generation that learned from the me generation, millennial entrepreneurs today, their kids, right? They're going to look back at their parents and be like, I don't want to be like you. And we're going to circle back to things like 401ks and pensions. They're going to come, it's going to be full circle because they're going to want stuff that is going to guarantee their future to have money in the future, right? So we're going to do that. We're going to repeat it. And because that's just what it, you know, I don't even know what to say about that. It just is what it's going to be and is what it is. So sorry to drop that bomb on you, but someone will watch this video and it will resurface and people are going to be like, oh my God, Justin called it. I'm calling it. You'll see. We're human. We are creatures of habit. We do things. We think things and we set our own futures up, and we're doing it right now. It just is what it is, right? I hate to be so cynical about it, but let's step back over here. So according to the National Association of Realtors, the Realtor magazine, mortgage rates rise again, nearing affordability threshold, right? It says if borrowing gets just a little higher, the average household may be blocked from home ownership, warns the National Association of Realtors economists. They actually get pretty deep in this, and they say mortgage rates continued inching up this week, nearing a threshold that would bring the average American household to a financial tipping point, warns Nadia, I cannot say her last name, senior economist and director of forecasting for the National Association of Realtors. I'm not going to beat your name up, so I'm just going to skip over it and make a joke, but that's in no disrespect to you, all right? For those who are weak-hearted and don't like my jokes, I'm just going to leave it right there like that on the table. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage jumped to an average 5.66, Freddie Mac reported Thursday. These are all fresh facts right now. This is fresh off the press or screen. So with that, I mean, you guys can read along. It's National Association of Realtors. Go to Realtor magazine, right? And it's the daily information there. I bring you guys the facts so that you can chew on that, right? Chew on those facts. Listen, okay. You know what's going on. I'm going to say this again, like I said it before. If you are capable of making an investment, do it. Don't think twice. If you have a contact or someone who can actually create a pro forma for you, I do that. It's part of what I do as a commercial real estate agent, handling investments for other. Now, keep in mind, I'm a commercial realtor, right, with Keller Williams, and that's what I specialize in. However, I'll maybe touch a residential here and there. I normally do it for my bigger clients. We're doing commercial deals, but if they want a house over here, fine, let's go do that real quick. But I don't shop or chase down residential deals. I'm not knocking anyone who does that. That's just, I like a bigger, more challenging deal. You're buying 20 houses, less talk, okay? But I do pro formas for my clients, and I make sure that what you're doing, your ARV, things like that are, whether it's, a big building, whatever your investment is, what that ROI is going to look like at the end, what your projections are going to look like moving forward, whether that was a sound investment. Here we go, bop, 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 bop. This is what I do. I'm not your financial planner. I'm not going to tell you about your entire life and your perspective and all that crap, right? But I will tell you what about the investment that you are taking on at this point moving forward. So with that being said, yes, I can help you with that when it comes to that, and that's why I cover these facts, because I want to keep you guys abreast of what's actually happening. Plenty of people talking about that right now. This is what I brought to you. There's my facts with this gorgeous beard, and that's it. I'm going to shave this thing off. What do you think about